What's up, everyone? It is your girl GLBeauty87 here, aka Grace, and today we're gonna get into ranking all my Halloween palettes, girl. So without further ado, let's get into it. I got 14 palettes to rank, so let's get started. So I feel like you should know which one is at the bottom. So number 14 is the Weirdos palette. I don't want to get into it, I want to keep talking about it, but it's lower down for y'all know why. If you saw my video when these came out last year, this one right here is why this is dead last. But it's a cute color story. I think it's otherwise it's the same standard quality. It's just I got part of the bad batch, unfortunately. So that's all we're gonna say about that. Moving on. Number 13, I just paired like some palettes together just because I was like, all of them give me the same vibe. Some quality is a little better than others, but it's like just as a whole, when it comes to the collection, I feel like it was just more of the same. So I put the ColourPop Halloween collections from what is it? Gather Round Sisters, and you know, like all that, they're all in the same spot. So I did change around a couple of mine though. So the Hocus Pocus collection, my first one I changed, I put this pink in here, and I added this green. I added one other thing here, so I like my color story a little bit better, but this is the best quality out of all three of them. Then you have the Witching Hour. This one I wasn't really that big a fan of. I think I took this shade out and switched it with what's here. I took one of these shades out and switched it. I feel it was this one or this one. One of these two got switched, and I'm still not feeling the color story that much. It's just okay, but you know, whatever. And then the third one, I really don't like the formula of this one. Like the formula of the first one was the best out of all three, like I said, but this is the one I like the color story of the best. This is what it looks like. As you can see, it's giving the vibes of the Strange and Unusual palette from Beaute Bar. So when I get that one, I will compare it to this one. I think they still have this one on their website. Don't quote me, I don't remember, but I'm just not a fan of this palette. I wanted to get the Haunted Mansion one, but it's just so similar to some other stuff I had, so I just couldn't waste my time. But all three of those are just being grouped in as 13 because all of them give me like the same feeling and vibe, and I'm just kind of like So number 12 is the Moonspell Volume 2 from Lunar Beauty. I'm actually have to go home and pick up my Lunar Beauty palette tonight, and then I will be doing a review on that, comparing it to something else. But this is what it looks like on the inside. I don't know, to me this just doesn't give Halloween vibes. I know he said that when he thinks the Halloween is like a lot of red and a lot of like purple and a lot of the movies, so that's why it got put where it got put. But I don't feel like the formula of this is the same as the original either, which is another reason why it got ranked lower for me. I like the fact that he put more colors in it, but it's like it wasn't a color story that I was just crazy about. To me, it gives a lot of like monochromatic and gives me more of a romantic feel than an actual Halloween feel. So that was my point. So number 12 is the Ruh-Roh Raggy palette. I just like Baddie Bean's version of this color story better, which is why this is toward the bottom. Now Baddie Bean's palette isn't going to be in here because if I remember correctly, that was just her like collab palette, not like a Halloween palette. Now her second palette will be in here because obviously it's a Halloween palette, but her first one was just a collab. So just wanted to clarify why you will not see it. But this one, I don't know, I like the quality of Baddie Bean's better, and since it's just a similar color story to it, I hold on to it for like reviewing purposes, but the Baddie Bean one is better. Just go by them. Next, I have the Cosmic Brushes Gothic palette. Now, this palette just came out, believe it or not, but the reason it's so much lower down is because it's giving a monochromatic palette. Again, it's giving more of that Manny vibe, but I like the formula of this one better, which is why it's higher than Manny's. But I don't know, I'm not feeling the color story of this a whole lot. It's okay. It's not anything exceptional for me to write home about as far as color stories go, just because I'm so used to having like monochromatic palettes. ColourPop, I feel like monochromatic all of us out, which is why I wasn't crazy about the color story of this. But it's the same quality and formula, so if you want a great quality and formula and a monochromatic palette, I definitely think this is the one for you. So was that number 11? So I believe this is number 10. This is the Nomad Haunted Europe palette. I really like this color story. I like the fact they gave warm tones and cool tones, and the fact that they give you some bright fun colors, and then you get some deeper colors to do like more mauve-ish smoky looks, but you still get some nice warm colors, so you can get nice neutral looks, but you can still get nice smoky looks, and then you can get a little bit of color, but it won't go too crazy. So that's what I'm liking about this palette, and that's why I get ranked where it got ranked. So with these, I try to do more of color story and then the amount of time I use it in addition to color story. So number 9 is going to be the Moonspell palette, the original one. Now this one, I definitely like the color story of a whole lot better. It gives you like a nice little neutral roll in between. You get a nice purple roll. You get a nice little green blue situation here. I really like the color story of this palette. I think this palette looks really nice. And this one was that one that they got that put them on the map with a lot of people who because I feel like he incorporated a little bit of color. I feel like he always incorporates a little bit of color, but he like plays it safe with a little bit of color he does. So I'm interested to see like how the new palette I get in the mail is gonna be. I said that was number 9, right? So this should be number 8. This is the Creeps and Crawls palette. I like the depth of this palette and the colors that they chose in here, so that's why this one got ranked above the Rut Raggy one, because I feel like the Rut Raggy is just a dupe off of Baddie Beans palette, so I'd rather just use her palette. But I really like the color story and tone of this one. This gives me vibes of the Bloom palette from Clarity Cosmetics though, but I do like the formula of this one better. I didn't like the shimmers in the Clarity Cosmetics one from what I remember, and I actually sold it on Mercari, but I do like the color story of this. I do like the formula of this one nicely, and this one worked out well for me, so that's why it's higher than Rut Raggy. Next, I have the Apocalypse palette from Clarity Cosmetics. I like the color story of this. I like the shimmers of this. I just feel like the color story isn't as cohesive as some of the other palettes. So I have a tendency to reach in here for maybe like a shimmer or two, but not necessarily do a whole look with it, because I don't feel like it's as cohesive as it could be. So that's why she is where she is. And you know, there you go. But it has some stunning shimmers and some stunning mattes. On to the Witching Hour palette. So I think this is number 6. No, this is number 5, sorry. So this is what it looks like on the inside. To me, this is like a perfect like fall, like Halloween palette for people who don't play too much in color or aren't that familiar with color theory and whatnot, because like you can literally just go down a row and have like a colorful fun eye look, but it still gives like Halloween feels when it comes to the colors that she chose in the palette. So I really like this palette. I think it's cute. I love it personally, and I am happy to have it in my collection. They don't make that one anymore, unfortunately. I think they brought Apocalypse back though, so you can still get that one. There's a few of them you can still get down there. I'll try to remember link the ones that you can get. Number 4 is the Halloween palette. So this is between Baddie Bean and Shroud. This is what it looks like on the inside. I love the color story of this. I told y'all the shade Black Flame is so amazing to me. I think it's great. I really like the shade Ghoulish as well, and the shade Ghastly. I like a lot of the shades in this palette, and I feel like I come up with nice unique color stories each time. So to me, this is like a little bit of like, I want to play in makeup and I want to have like a challenge when it comes to eye look, because it's not just the easiest look to come together and make a eye look with, but I enjoy it anyway. I just feel like there's a lot of oranges in here, because this is orange, and then this is orange, and then this is orange. Y'all know I'm not big on orange, even though I know orange is a huge part of the theme of Halloween, so I get that, but it's just like I'm just not huge on orange. So that's why I couldn't put it any higher than where it is, because it's like it's too much orange going on. I'm not with the orange. Now there's another one that will be higher up, but it's like I just paired some together. So some of these are, the rest of them are honestly just paired together because they all came out at the same time or around the same time and have the same kind of theme going on. Like for example, these Gourmand Girls ones, I just paired all 3 of them together. Normally I would have put the Spooked one a little bit lower, but I just decided to put them all together because they all have nice color stories in themselves, and they all have unique different color stories for what type of person you are, depending on what you're looking for in the palette. So I'll start with the original Spooked palette. If you like pops of color here and there, but you mainly like neutrals, I feel like this one will be better for you, because I feel like there's a good amount of neutral going on here versus the amount of color you get in the other palettes that she came out with later on. So this is Doodles by the Bunny and Gourmand Girls. All 3 of these they collab with Doodles by the Bunny to do. So this was the first one. I didn't buy this initially when it came out because it's not my necessarily color aesthetic. Like I like this little corner over here, but I'm not really big on the like browns and the neutrals going on in here, and I just feel like this wouldn't be like something that necessarily had to have at the time, so I ended up getting it on later on down the line. But I do like this one. Now that I have it there, I think that was the first thing I tried. No, the first palette I tried from Gourmand Girls was the Nightshade one, the next one that's in this collection. So this is what it looks like, and y'all know this is definitely more my color aesthetic. This color really reminds me of Caramel Apple from the Dawn of Fall palette from It's Belle Cosmetics. And that's an all shimmer palette from them, because they usually do all shimmer palettes. But I really like the color story of this one a whole lot more than the first one. Obviously these are definitely more my tones and vibe, because you got some purples, you got some greens, and it's just a lovely color story. So the Haunted one is the last one I got. I literally just did a video on it yesterday, so I can make sure that I put it in here. So this is Haunted, and to me it gives some of a similar vibe to the Nightshade palette, as everybody was saying. So it's like when you get them in person and you see the difference in person, then you can see they're different, but it's like they still look like, you know how it's like that's your sister, it's like no, that's my cousin. Like that's the vibe that these palettes give to me. Like it's not my sister, it's my cousin, but they give enough similar tones to where it's like you could pick whichever one you really like and just go with that one, and I feel like you would be fine. But I'm fine having both in my collection. They actually sell these in bundles now, because when I initially asked when Nightshade came out if you could buy Spooked in a bundle with it, and they said you couldn't. But now they have this one and this one in a bundle, or Spooked and the other one in a bundle. I don't think you can bundle all three, but they have bundles of each one of these as a set of 2 if you were interested. But back to this one, I used this one the most recently, and I was really impressed with the color story and the formula and all that. So I'm happy to have it in my collection, and that's why they got to be number 3, because they are newer to my collection. The other 2 are older, and I have played with them a whole lot more, just played with the brand a whole lot more, so I didn't want to put it like too high, not knowing. But I like the color stories and the formulas. I have tried from all 3 palettes enough to put them as high as I did. So number 2 is the rest of the Unearthly Cosmetics Halloween collection that they came out with in 2022. This is the So Strange palette and the 1964 palette. So 1964 was the one that was most difficult for me to use, but I found a way to make it work, because again, you can just look at it as a 6-pan. Like, you look at that as a 6-pan palette. Look at this as a 6-pan, and it's easier for you to do eye looks with. Now, you can't get this one anymore, or the So Strange. She said she found like 15 So Stranges in her house, and she had posted on Instagram about them, and they're already gone. So you can't get So Strange anymore, or the one I showed at the beginning, the Weirdos palette. But this is what So Strange looks like. Again, I'm absolutely in love. I feel like it gives you like tropical vibes on this side, as far as like a warm sunset eye, and then on this side you get more of the AKA vibes with the green and the pink. So again, I love the color story. This is a whole, these are some of my most reached for Halloween palettes, along with the other ones I had shown you. So that's why I definitely had to put them toward the top, because honey, I'd have been lying if I said they were not my favorite. So the last 2 I have, of course, number 1 is Angie's collection. So I have the Trick or Treat palette and the Little Ghost palette. Now, normally Little Ghost would have been higher than Trick or Treat, but I just decided to put them both together. Honey, I'm trying to save time. I gotta go home, pick up the Lunar Beauty's Siren palette, and then come back to compare to some other stuff. And I got like 2 or 3 videos I need to film still, that I'm just going to film later on tonight. So I was like, we gotta get through it, girl, because I gotta pack all this stuff and take it home and bring some new stuff to share with y'all. So this is Little Ghost, as you can see. I mean, this is Trick or Treat. As you can see, it's definitely giving some of the vibes of the Christmas palette that people missed out on. What is it called? The Merry Christmas. I definitely feel like this is like the Halloween version of Merry Christmas, if that makes any sense, because it has lots of similar tones with the greens and then the reds. So if you did not get Merry Christmas, I feel like this could be a good alternative. Notice I say alternative. It's not saying that it's going to be exact. It's not exact. It's a good alternative. Just hear it well. Next is the Little Ghost palette. Now, this is my personal favorite of the 2, but when I open it, y'all see why. I mean, I got some purples. I got some blues. She gave this little corally section. She loves that. I love this little yellow pop of color here. I'm mainly concerned about this part. I mean, this part down here is cute, and it does help give transition shades and certain other things as well. Like, you can put the yellow with this, or you can put the yellow with this, and I feel like it's nice. So I feel like she did a really good job on this color story. However, if you already have the Salon 2 palette, I feel like you can get a similar look. Like, I gave y'all comparisons of both of these palettes with other Udenzai palettes that already exist. So I definitely feel like if you have those palettes, you don't have to necessarily buy either one of these palettes, because you already have these colors. But I just love Udenzai, and I love the color stories that Angie creates. I feel like she does an excellent job when it comes to creating color stories and palettes, and I'm always pleased with whatever it is she makes. So I knew I could just buy it and I would be fine, and I have been fine, obviously, or else these might not be number 1. So those are my Halloween palettes that I ranked in my collection. You can comment down below and tell me if you were surprised by the way that any of these were ranked. I feel like, again, if you watch this channel regularly, then you're not surprised by the way I ranked any of these things. But I hope you all enjoyed this video. Remember, you all are diamonds, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Make sure you subscribe, girl.